All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Wednesday, June 2nd. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally here today, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Now guys, we are currently 2-0 in our last two board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We've got ourselves another board member tier package pick going off here this evening. We've also gone 5-1 in our last 6 NBA tier package picks on that Patreon page as well. And we also have another NBA tier package pick going off here this evening. We currently, we've got ourselves, nearly 950 Patreon members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that page is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into some NBA playoff action. We're going to start with the Wizards taking on the Sixers, 7 p.m. Eastern start time in Philly. The Philadelphia 76ers are -6.5. Totals 229. Looks like Philly's going to work here without Joel Embiid here this evening. The center's been listed as doubtful for tonight's contest. Now, Embiid's responsible for 24 points a game in this very series, along with 6 rebounds a game. So, a lot of production they're leaving on the table here if he can't compete. Now, the Sixers have also failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 8 ball games. Just 4-6 against the number in their last 10 meetings with Washington. Now, Philadelphia is also they're also in the bottom half of the league in both third and fourth quarter scoring. They're taking on a Washington club who's done a really good job covering the point spread on the road. The Wizards are currently 24-15 against the spread when they travel. Washington is also in the top 5 in the NBA in scoring on average per contest. Bradley Beal scoring 29.5 points per contest in this series. 6 rebounds, 4 assists for Beal. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook scoring over 17.5 points per contest in this series himself. 11 boards and 12 assists for the Popcorn Man. This Washington club is in the top 10 in offensive rebounding, top 5 in fourth quarter scoring as well. Now, total-wise, Washington saw 4 out of their last 5 ball games get over the posted number. 5-4 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Philly, throwing out game 2. Meanwhile, the Sixers saw 6 out of their last 9 ball games get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Washington Wizards plus 6.5 in the over 229. Next ball game, it is going to be Hawks versus the Knicks, 7:30 p.m. Eastern tip. The New York Knicks are -1.5, totals 208. Now, the Knicks have been pretty bad on the offensive end of the court here recently. They're averaging just 99 points per contest in this very series. And unfortunately, this has been a pretty common trend with these guys all season long. New York's in the bottom 5 in the entire NBA in scoring on average per contest. Now, they're taking on an Atlanta club who's played real solid defensively all season long. Atlanta's in the top 10 defensively in points allowed. Top 3 in defending the 3-ball. Now, the Hawks have also done a really good job of rebounding defensively. And when it comes to, the scoring with Atlanta, Trae Young's been getting 27.5 points a night in this series. 2 boards, 10 assists for the youngster. Meanwhile, Bogdan Bogdanovic is averaging nearly 16 points a night in this series himself. 6 boards, 3 assists for Bogey. Now, total-wise, all 4 of this series contests stayed under the number. The Hawks have also seen their last 7 straight ball games stay under the line. Meanwhile, the Knicks are currently 8-1 to the under in their last 9 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Atlanta Hawks plus 1.5 in the under 208. Next ball game, it is going to be Grizzlies versus the Jazz, 9:30 p.m. East. The Utah Jazz are -9.5, numbers 226. Now, Utah's 32-6 straight up at the Vivint Smart Home Arena this year. They've also successfully covered the point spread 25 times in that building this year, and that's good for 66% in that particular category. Now, Now, the Jazz have taken 9 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Grizzlies. They also successfully covered the number 7 times during that stretch. Now, Utah is currently leading the NBA in defending the 3-ball at home. They're holding their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc on their home court. Meanwhile, offensively, Donovan Mitchell's averaging 28 points a night in this series. A couple of boards and 4 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Mike Conley is scoring 20 points a night in this series himself. 4 rebounds, 10 assists for Conley. And speaking of boards, the Jazz are in the top 3 in the association in both offensive and defensive rebounding at home. Now they're taking on a Memphis club who's giving up 127 points on average in their last 3 most recent meetings with Memphis in this very, with Utah in this very series. So they're giving up a whole bunch of points. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, the Grizzlies do tend to give up points when they travel. They're in the bottom 10 in the NBA in points allowed on the road. And when it comes to the total in this one, all 4 of this series contests got over the posted number. Memphis is also 25-14 to the over on the road. Meanwhile, the Jazz are 70% to the over in their last 10 ball games themselves. Utah also saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with Memphis get over the line. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Utah Jazz minus 9.5 and the over 226. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Mavericks versus the Clippers, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The LA Clippers are minus 7.5, totals 217. And as good as LA's looked in games 3 and 4, they still failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 6 ball games. Now, the Clippers are also in the bottom half of the league in home offensive rebounding, bottom half in third quarter points allowed at home. They're taking on a Dallas club who's played their best basketball on the road this year. They're 23-15 straight up when traveling, 22-16 against the spread in those road games. Now, Luka Doncic, he looks pretty healed up and ready to go here. A lot of sites have him listed as he's upgraded to probable. Now, he's scoring over 33 points a night in this series. Doncic is also averaging 8 rebounds and 8 assists a game in this series as well. Meanwhile, Tim Hardaway Jr. is scoring over 16 points per contest in this series himself, along with 3 rebounds. Dallas is in the top 3 in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage on the road. They allow just 109 points per contest when they travel. Now, total-wise, 7 out of the Mavs' last 9 ball games got over the total. Clippers saw 4 out of their last 6 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Mavericks plus 7.5 and the over 217. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Washington plus 6.5 over 229. Atlanta plus 1.5 under 208. Utah minus 9.5 over 226. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 2-0 in our last couple of board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We've also gone, 5-1 in our last 6 NBA tier package picks on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Mavericks plus 7.5 and the over 217. Now, guys, real quick, if you found yourself enjoying this video here today, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you're new here today or this week, please feel free to welcome yourself to the family by hitting that subscribe button as well. I'd love to connect with you day in and day out. So love to see you. Love to see you hit that subscribe button as well. And with that, guys, now we're going to dive into some YouTube shout-outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Mar Brown, Brian Grant, Gary DeStefano, Sandbox Mafia, South Plainfield Striker. Shout out to Fresh Tape, Christy Martin, Gerald I can never say your name, Jerry. Gerald Podolsky. I don't know. Gerald Podolsky. Shout out to Drew Kerr. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Jeff Roblo from Shreveport, Louisiana. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys do end up deciding to get a package here today on my Patreon website, just keep in mind Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So you're going to get a lot of value if you end up signing up today. Anytime you sign up early in the month, you maximize your value with the Patreon content. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.